Hey Peyton, nice to see you again on this beautiful day. This time with a quote, or let's say a poem by Hafiz. And it goes like this. Even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, "You owe me." Look what happens with a love like that. It lights the whole sky. What are your reflections upon this beautiful poem, Peyton? Share them with us today, please.
Good to be here, my friend. What a wonderful quote by Hafiz. And to me, this quote points to an unconditional love or a divine love or a conscious love. It's something that we can see the metaphor, the analogy, the example of the sun just pouring its light and its energy upon the earth that ultimately fuels all of life and all of the dynamic system that we have on this planet. And we can see that it's just emanating, it's just radiating, it's just giving, 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 not taking, receiving, not expecting reciprocation. And this is something that we can reach at times or access at times within ourselves, a type of love that is fundamentally in its nature open, fundamentally in its nature giving, radiating, emanating from a divine source within, rather than a love that is fundamentally based in attachment or desire or lust, which is ironically more common use of the word love in our culture, but actually the way of being to be attached, to be ulterior, to want something from this person, and to be in some way manipulating them, even out of a desire of well-being for this person, or even alongside a true loving kindness for this person. We are oftentimes finding ourselves to be ulterior, to want to love this person in order that we are loved back, or in order that we feel belonging, or in order that they make us feel a certain way, or in order that they make us feel good about ourselves, or in order that they stay around and we don't have to face the fear of being alone or without them, or in order that we get such and such an experience or such and such an emotion from this person, or such and such a status from association with this person. These are forms of love, or forms of or a use of the word love that actually cuts us off from a divine and unconditional love, a love that is not based in me over here trying to keep a tether on you over there, but rather a love that is based in an open sense of being, an open-hearted way of being, and something that can be conscious, somatic, physical, and not necessarily tied to the ego, but yet something that we can open to when we let our sense of self, when we let the defense mechanisms within ourselves fall away and relax, and instead witness this energy that can emanate naturally from within, something that we don't need to create, but is divine in its nature and natural, an inherent quality of our being when we can let go of certain contractions and see how it can emanate from within toward the other, toward the world, and feel, really feel somatically and experientially that we are not over here looking at an object over there, that all of this is connected, that this person, this object of my love, or this web of being, this entire universe is appearing within the field of awareness, within the field of consciousness. It is fundamentally interconnected with the nature of our being, and we can connect with a love that is prior to our sense of ourself and our desires and what we want and don't want. We can connect with a love that is open and not in expectation of getting something from this person, but instead is a loving kindness that we radiate from ourselves without looking for anything in return. And that is a type of love that not just is healing and nourishing to this other person or this thing, maybe nature or whatever, but it is deeply nourishing to ourselves to have this love and this loving awareness and loving kindness radiate from within us toward outward, toward other, or toward even the field of being and all of reality. This experience of love, or of metta, or of loving kindness, or of loving consciousness, or Christ consciousness, or however we want to talk about it, this is pointed to in all of the major spiritual traditions in many ways. This is an experience that is fundamental to the nature of our being that we can access and really allow, rather than manufacture, rather than force, rather than make. It's almost getting out of the way of this primordial state of being that is extremely, extremely healing of us to practice on a regular basis, not to mention the beneficial effect that it can ripple out to those around us, or to the people that we emanate it toward. So this is a very, very core spiritual practice that is really, really healthful and meditative in its own way. What are your thoughts around this example of the sun and unconditional love that it points to?
Man, you wrapped it up beautifully with the framing of it's a divine love which comes from the source, and in a fundamental quality, it's like really non-judgmental, unconditional, and you see it everywhere in nature when you look around. Like Hafiz points towards the sun, which gives its warmth to everyone, not judging whether it's a thief or a beggar. Or the roses give their smell to everyone who walks by and dares to smell, not deciding whether you are rich or poor, because it's non-judgmental. In its nature, because it's just presenting the value you are uniquely qualified to present as a flower or as a sun, and therefore this is all interconnected. Like you said, we are not giving ourselves into the world just to reach a certain point. We are giving ourselves just because we are living creatures with a core that wants to express itself in a natural way, that wants to join the dance of living things. And this is a beautiful framing of the kind of abundance which radiates from within to the outside world. And when we have this kind of abundance within, like a mindset which shifts our thinking to, hey, I have enough. I can give whatever I have. I can share whatever it takes. I can just give to people who are in need, for example, or who I see who are struggling. I can give them just my time. I'm generous with it. And this kind of abundance not always radiates outwards, but like you said, with metta, or with this loving kindness, it comes back to you as well again. And you just feel it in your body. If you really try to practice this kind of uh, loving kindness or gratitude or metta or whatever, you feel it in your body, you feel it in your bones, that it comes back as soon as you send it out. As soon as you send out the wishes to your loved ones or your families, and you think to yourself, man, I really wish them well. I really wish that they have a healthy life, and they are free from suffering. I really wish that they will live their best moments right now. And you really feel it coming back to you as soon as you send it out. And this kind of abundance, sometimes I forget to tap into it, but it's always present, like you said. It's just this depth, this interconnection, and you can choose to tap into it. It's always there, and it's of your choice if you want to connect with this kind of source, re-energize yourself in this kind of way, which is really not costly, which is really like for free. It only costs you to have the idea and really try it out and put it into practice. Um, and with this kind of non-judgmental and unconditional love, I think if we would have this idea in our minds much more often, then I believe we would have a better life day in and day out. Or what do you think, Peyton? What kind of practices point towards a similar kind of mechanisms?
Yeah, what you point to is so true. What he talks about when he says, a love like that will light up the world. This is not something that we need to just take on faith or take somebody else's word for it. We can feel what it is like to, on one hand, be judgmental, on one hand, to be ulterior, to want something from other people, to be attached to other people, to crave other people, to be in lust, or to want somebody else to validate us in a certain way that we crave. We can feel what that causes, and we can actually pay attention. And regardless of how good we get at this, maybe you can surpass some of that. I definitely haven't. These things come up, and we can actually look at what is the effect when I'm in this way of being. And then we can pay attention to what is the effect when I'm connecting with a deeper form of love, where actually I have no craving for anything from this person. I have no desire from anything from this person. I don't need something from this person. I'm not attached to this person. But yet, I am fully giving myself to this person in this present moment. I am being completely open-hearted with this person. I'm not putting up barriers of thought and identity and comparison and judgment between me and this person, but yet I am fully allowing them, fully being receptive to their full presence, and I am fully being right here, right now, in the moment, sensing and feeling their energy. And one model of this that's, I guess, very commonly cited, but for good reason, is Jesus Christ. Regardless of what our religious beliefs are, he was an immense example of living open-hearted. When you look at how he treated the outcasts of society, how he treated the lepers and the people that were looked upon as shameful and dirty, he was right there with them. He touched them. He was in their presence and treating them open-heartedly as he was interconnected with them. He did the same with children. He said, bring them to me. Unless your mind is like these little children, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven. And what he was pointing to is this conscious, open, connected, interconnected presence. And he also was the same with the people that the religious leaders looked down on, or the society looked down on, like tax collectors. He was open-hearted toward all beings. He was interconnected with all beings, and he had this radiant love that was not judging and saying, you're over there, I'm over here. This is how I'm better than you. This is how I'm worse than you. This is what I envy of yours. This is what I covet of yours. This is what I want to be like you. This is what I want out of you. This is how I want you to make me feel in this present moment. He wasn't doing all this stuff of dividing himself from all the people that he was around. Instead, he was radiating an open-hearted love. And we can use this not as a far-off story to tell ourselves, but actually as a practice. We can be like this for 5 minutes and just test, see what the effect is when we truly don't want anything from anybody, but we are fully loving them. We are fully being with them. We are fully open-hearted with them. This is deeply nourishing to our souls. It makes us feel whole. It makes us realize that there is nothing lacking. Whereas if we're cutting ourselves up, we're wanting something from other people, we're judging other people, then we feel a deep sense of disconnection, a deep sense of hollowness, a sense that what is right here is not enough. And we can run this experiment over and over and over, and we can see the effects over and over and over until we deeply understand this, until it's vivid to us in the moment of our temptation to take this path or that path in our way of being with somebody else. And we can see that we have a wonderful opportunity to connect with this joyful, loving, and divine presence within us and allow it, not force it, not create it, not that it's something we're doing or making ourselves or efforting ourselves, but it's something that we can feel and allow to flow out within us. This is a core characteristic of our being and of the very nature of reality that we can allow to emanate through. And when we can connect with that, we can be healed and nourished and interconnected and feel that this moment, this interaction, this present experience that I'm having is enough. I don't feel disconnected. I don't feel cut up. I don't feel separated, and I don't feel like there's anything lacking, something that needs to be fundamentally changed about this moment for me to be at peace. And that is a divine experience that we can learn to embody more and more, and we can get more and more perceptive at the habits that we have, the habits that may be conditioned, that are that cut us off from this experience. And so this is a very, very core spiritual practice that is ultimately first person. We can talk about this. We can say pretty words about this. We can memorize things about this. We can think of stories about this. But ultimately, if we don't bring this into our actual way of being, we won't drink from this stream. If we don't actually embody this and feel this for ourselves and experiment with this for ourselves and pay attention to it, it's hard to stand independent of the forces of conditioning from the outside unless we feel this, unless we play around with this, unless we see what it would be like to be like this for just a minute and pay attention to the cause and effects. And this is a wonderful opportunity for our lives and much easier said than done for me, for sure, and for many of us at many times. But it's it's an incredible opportunity that we have ultimately to cultivate this way of being and to feel the way that this can provide a richer and more natural and more flowing way of being with other people and with the world. So that's kind of my thoughts on this. Any closing thoughts from you, my man?
Yeah, for sure, man. Thanks. You mentioned this kind of way of being and really to try it out. This is a practice we can try out to really see how it feels. And this is kind of a thing that works. And you tap into that and you feel it that it works. And you feel that this kind of abundance, this generosity with your time, with your opinion, and also with your deeds leads to a positive sum, at least with the people you play it in the long term. And I saw you boiled it down in a practice where it's like, in its essence, it was really generous of you. I saw it on LinkedIn where you had this contractor who worked out some process details for you, and he asked for some recommendations or referrals, and you just recorded a video of yourself explaining how good his work was and how he managed it, and you posted it on your LinkedIn for your network to see, and it was like this kind of big generosity in a small way, which leads to overall win-win-win situations. You know, your network profits from it because you share a reliable source of procedural improvement knowledge. And it was good for him because now he has like a video referral where a business owner says something very positive about him, and it shows about what kind of person you are because you are generous with what you have as an opinion of him and what you share with your network. And this kind of abundance, you can boil it down to every small deed you do. In teamwork, you can facilitate people working together because sometimes there's work where 1 + 1 = 3, and this is not a mathematical equation, but like making synergies real, making them effective. So you can share, you are generous, and it works that it becomes much more than both parts on its own. So it compounds if you have this kind of value-centered abundance, and it compounds in your network, it compounds with your partnerships, and overall it's just a working system which you can try out in a kind of single player mode with loving kindness exercises and practices, but also in a kind of multiplayer mode where you just generously share your resources with people, share your time, share your advice or counsel or coaching, whatever. And this becomes more when you share it. There's so much in this world which becomes more when you share it with other people. And this is one kind of thing, this kind of unconditional love, this kind of unconditional, unattached, non-judgmental generosity. That's why I love the poem uh, from Hafiz. Even after all this time, the sun never sets to the earth, you owe me. Look what happens with a love like that. It lights the whole sky. With that, I wish you a wonderful week, and may we be healthy and generous and free from suffering. And thanks, man, Peyton, for your time.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing, my friend. This is a way of being that I really hope to embody more and more and practice more and more. I fall short of this quite often, and this past week, quite a bit I did. And so it's a useful aspiration for me to bring into my life. And I'm very grateful to have this reminder of just this incredible opportunity to live in a more connected and open-hearted way. So thank you for sharing your thoughts. I look forward to talking to you next week, my friend. Take care.
Appreciate you, man. Look forward to you.
Take
See
care.
ya.
Bye bye.